Hello and welcome to this webinar about MAXQDA Tailwind. It's called Exploring the AI-Powered Topic Discovery and Summarization. MAXQDA Tailwind, as you might know, might not yet know, is a standalone tool. It's basically the second product of Verbi, of the makers of MAXQDA, and it takes really a new or a fresh approach towards analyzing qualitative data. And today we will first take a look at what this tool can do at the moment. I say at the moment because whenever I hold a webinar, they added something new. And then we will discover or discuss a little bit what this can be used for, what are the advantages, how does it, in what relationship does it stand to research as we do it at the moment, or as we used to do it before AI showed up. Because the interesting thing is, at least in my perspective, that the arrival of generative AI or the invention of generative AI, widespread use of it, is disrupting qualitative research even more than it does quantitative research, interestingly, at least from my perspective. Okay, let's get started. MAXQDA Tailwind, what is that? It is a web-based AI tool. So you will see in a second that I open my browser to use it. That's what web-based means. It comes with all the advantages of using web tool. That means you can use it from any device. You can always continue from wherever you are. And it helps you to analyze and summarize your qualitative data. It's a standalone product. So if you know MAXQDA already, Tailwind is its own thing. It does not come with the MAXQDA license, but it is developed by the same company. Just maybe good for you to know. The company is Verbi. It's a company based in Berlin, in Germany. So it's an AI tool made in Germany, which I personally like, although I am not German. I have a quite high opinions of the Germans when it comes to at least the security of software development. It's not somewhere in China. It's not somewhere, I don't know, in a country where you might feel a little bit unsure about it. But it is, well, in the EU, based in Germany. This tool is no longer in beta. So if you have followed the development of Tailwind a bit, it has recently been released from beta, which also means it's now purchasable, and that's what we come also to in a second, as its standalone thing. You no longer need MAXQDA to have access to Tailwind, and access to Tailwind doesn't give you MAXQDA automatically. So that already brings us to how do you get access to MAXQDA Tailwind if you want to try it. You can go to the website tailwind.maxqda.com. We will see it in a second too. And you have the option to try a free trial. There is now finally a free trial where you can sign up very easily to the tool. You can try it 7 days with the full functionality, but it's limited to only one project and only up to 5 documents. So the project I will show you today, I just noticed because my project contains 5 documents, you could actually reproduce with the trial version. And 5 documents might not sound much, but when you keep in mind that an interview, for example, often is like 1 hour long and has 30 pages of transcript, that's quite a lot of data. Also, it ends automatically. You don't have to give your, I don't know, payment info or something. So it ends automatically. You can try it, but only with 5 documents if you want to. That's, I would say, the main limitation. Often you just need one project, but you certainly will have more than 5 documents, but then you will see the entire process, understand how it works, and see also what it is good for and how the output looks, and if you need that, and if that helps you. Yeah. I see that there's also a question. Yeah, pricing, I will say something in a second. I see there's also a question about what is the difference between Tailwind and AI Assist. I will come back to that in a second. I will first show you MAXQDA and then show you, or we can talk a little bit about the differences. Full version, and then I tell you pricing. Full version means unlimited number of projects. You can use up to 50 documents per project. You can use it as a monthly subscription, meaning every month you can decide, do I still need it? Do I no longer need it? And you can cancel it anytime. Pricing is it's comparatively expensive. It's between 30 to 40 euros per month. You can also check on the website. It might depend a little bit on what's your conversion rate or something, but roughly between 30 and 40 euros per month. But the thing is, in many use cases, you use Tailwind and you are done with the use in a week or two. So you will see, it depends on, and we will also discuss that a little bit at the end, how much you use it long term and how much you use it as a one shot. I gladly take feedback about the pricing and things, but just that you know, I have nothing to do with it. I'm a trainer. I'm someone who teaches software. I have absolutely no impact on that, but I very gladly forward this to the makers. Okay, so that's roughly what you get. But feel free to always, I would anyways recommend before you buy a product, always try the free trial and see if that is what you want and what you need. Okay, and this webinar, of course, is also a fantastic opportunity because I will show it to you and I will tell you my opinion and the use cases. So what can you do with MAXQDA's Tailwind? The main things that you can do are in various ways summarizing data. What you can do is you can summarize an entire document, for example, a Word file or a PDF. You can identify topics automatically and also get topic-based descriptions. I will show you all that live in just a second. You can create summary tables to compare your documents across, to compare your topics across documents, and you can AI chat with several documents at once. I will show you some, I will guide you along. We will basically test the trial version. I mean, I have the full version, but we will do it with like 5 documents and you will see how the results look. If you maybe after this webinar sign up for the trial version, you can test exactly what I do here with your own data. And the last thing, which is not yet here on the slide, is that you can also, and this is the new thing since last time, you can also export your data to MAXQDA and then continue working in MAXQDA, just that you see it. Okay, so let's get started. Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to create a project, and that's already outdated, I notice. A project that can contain, by now it's up to 50 documents. Last time it was still 20. I noticed I forgot to change the 20 here. And we need to give the project a meaningful name and description. I will show you that in the browser, in Firefox. So Firefox is my browser of choice. You might go with Chrome or something, but I'm one of those people who still using Firefox. So if you go to tailwindmaxqda.com, you will need to sign in. You will need to create an account. You will at least need to sign up for the free trial version. Then you have your projects here. If you have the free trial, you will only have one project. I can have as many projects as I want to. I create a new project now, and this is also what you will need to do. And I will not only show you the function, because I'm a trainer. I'm not a software explainer. I'm a methodologist too, and I like to explain to you how to use it best. So if you create a project, what you should not do is call it test and then the description testing, because MAXQDA Tailwind will actually look at the project name and the description to understand what you are looking for. Test will probably not have much of an impact, but if you write something that describes your project, this contextual data will in many places be considered. So I call this now challenges. Yeah, here this is what I used last time. Challenges for female freelancers. My interviews, and this is also what I would recommend to you, what you actually do with the software. If you use the free trial, try it if you have the allowance for it with your own data. Use data that you know inside out whenever exploring any AI tool, because only then you can really evaluate if the AI tool is good, if it's giving you the things you expect, if it's giving you better things than you expect, or if it's performing terrible here. I've tested several AI tools out there already, and always I do it with my 5 interviews that I know. Can it do multilingual analysis? Yes. I know that English and Hindi is supported here. I'm not entirely sure about Gujarati, Sanskrit, which is asked here, but it can support multiple languages. The only language that we select here is the output language. That's one important thing. Output language means it will tell us, well, the summaries, in what language do you want to have them. But it can very well does multi-language analysis. German, English, French, you can mix up your languages in there. So challenges for female freelancers. And now I write the description in there. I write in here maybe 5 interviews with female freelancers focused around the unique challenges and advantages of working as a freelancer. Maybe a short description. That's what these 5 interviews are about. I conducted them with real people. I know the data, I know the people, so I can evaluate the quality. And you will need to trust it a little bit, but you can do it just the same with the trial version. So mind you, we are in a browser, we logged in, we create the project, we describe the project, we choose an output language. For you, I choose English because, well, that's at least our language in common. Then we immediately see here we have 5 files, 0 files, 0 topics, no summary tables yet, and you see my other projects here that are a bit more advanced. I click on this project, and the first thing I need to do is, well, you cannot analyze data without having data, right? So let's import data. You see here, you can upload up to 50 docx, RTF, TXT, or PDF files. Maximum size here is 20 megabyte or 250,000 characters for the documents. Okay, we can say import here. I need to choose the file. And I already have my files here open. These are 5 English interviews. And just that you know about these interviews, they are real interviews. They are 1 hour long. So they are about 20 pages per interview. So the data we are now going to analyze in less than an hour is roughly 100 pages, 20 times 5, roughly 100 pages of transcripts. So this is not a trivial analysis, although it's just a trial, although it is from its volume, just a trial version. So 100 pages, how long would you need to analyze 100 pages? Probably weeks or months. Let's see what we get out of this. Now the data is being uploaded, the 5 documents, and what MAXQDA does immediately, Tailwind does immediately, is it creates an AI summary for each document. Just a short summary in your target language so that you can see what is this document about. I see here summary, summary, summary. I just click here on verbal, and then I have here this short summary. Verbal, a 30-year-old writing and writing therapy trainer, describes her multifaceted self-employment. Her work includes editing, process-guided writing, workshops, and various roles at the theater, and so on, and so on. The first thing you might notice here is that you not only have the summary up here, but also the entire document down here, so you can read into the original document whenever needed. And you also get these numbers here that help us to reference if things are accurate. For example, let's see, she sometimes applies for traditional jobs, but ultimately prefers the independence of freelancing. So I'm fine with the fact that I have so many projects because I get bored very quickly. And then she says, I know I definitely want to be self-employed. I do apply for 20-hour jobs time to time because I think I need it. But when I send it off, I hope I don't get the job. This is exactly what has been described here. She sometimes applies for traditional jobs, but ultimately does not want them. So you see here, unlike many other AI tools, you can actually check one click away where is this coming from. And this is, of course, making your summary much more transparent. And what you might also be able to tell here, 3 to 6, 3 to 5, 5, 6, 12, 16, 18, 22, that the summary here roughly follows the outline of the document. So what's here on the 103 is at the end of the document, and it follows roughly that structure. Of course, it groups some things like 5 and 15 is picked up here again, but it roughly follows the structure. And in this case here, this is just a document summary because the question in the chat, this is just a summary of one document here. This is the very beginning of it, okay? So you can click here and you get that. You have a summary for each document. I can now go to Fiona's document and then I have the summary for Fiona. And again, I can check where does she say that regardless of gender. I wouldn't say it has much to do with gender in my industry and so on. So this is a summary for one document each. This is, you don't even need to click a button. as soon as you upload your data, you get an AI summary. What is the significance of the number? The numbers roughly are the paragraph numbers within the document. So here, paragraph 114 is the 114th paragraph, so the end of it. It roughly gives you where is this in the document. If you later export it into MAXQDA, you will see these paragraph numbers again. These are the numbers that you also would see in MAXQDA. Yeah, the maximum size here of 20 megabytes, 250 characters is for each of the documents. Yes. 20 megabytes for all the documents would be crazy. That's the maximum for each document. 20 megabytes is usually enough for a transcript, but if you have like very big data, it might be a little bit of limitation. Okay, so this is how we set up our project. And you see, even in the summaries, it's already good that we have our sort of research question baked into it, because that helps us to understand, helps AI to understand what you're looking for. So the next thing we can do after summarizing the data is we can use it to generate topics. So often your analysis is going to be topic based. That means you can take a look at what are the common topics and what do people say about these topics. But already identifying these topics is not that easy. So let's have a look at the next section here, the topics. Where there are no topics yet, we have two ways of creating topics. One is finding them automatically. MAXQDA Tailwind will suggest topics to you. And the other option is you define your own topics. Let's take a look at finding topics. This little radar starts here, and MAXQDA will in a second give us MAXQDA Tailwind. I keep saying MAXQDA Tailwind will give us topic suggestions. And you now see here we have a number of suggestions, and we can read what these suggestions are, even with a short description, then can decide what topics we want to keep. So, transition to and experiences of self-employment. This topic encompasses the motivation and overall experience of transitioning into self-employment. Okay, work-life integration and well-being, financial aspects, gender and self-employment. That's what I'm interested in. Client management and business development strategies, professional development, support networks. That's also what I like. Impact of external factors. You know what? Let's say, well, let's take those four. Okay, transition to and experience of self-employment, work-life integration, gender, and support networks. MAXQDA Tailwind suggested these topics to me. I can now just say add topics, and it will create the topics and create a summary for each topic. But this summary now, unlike the summary before, will go across all documents that I have in my data. So let's, for example, keep an eye on gender and self-employment, but with that, because that is an important topic, at least in this research question here. How is freelancing unique or special for women? Let's have a look. It takes a little bit. Summary is in progress at the moment. You see here, there's a description for each topic again. The topic suggestion project, you just hit find topics. The Tailwind suggests topics for you, and you choose the topics that you wish to keep. You have the description here for each topic, and as you see, you can also edit this description. So if you want to, you can change the description to change a little bit what the summary encompasses. Let's have a look here at gender and self-employment. Here, the challenge of balancing work and family responsibilities is a recurring theme across the documents. And now we get references across documents. Verbi describes the significant strains caused by the pandemic, leading to self-doubt and devaluation of her work. Alex highlights the impact of childcare and unexpected family changes. Alina emphasizes the unexpected demands of caregiving for her ailing father-in-law, significantly impacting her business. Fiona acknowledges the potential difficulties for women with children, citing a friend's experience, and Paulina benefits from a flexible division of family responsibilities with her self-employed husband. And I know these 5 people, and I can just tell you that this is absolutely correct. Verbi had the huge challenge of being alone during COVID with her children, which is gender related, of course. Alex said childcare is important. Alina said that she had to take care of her father-in-law, and she was in the trap of being used as sort of like a caregiver for her extended family. Fiona said only cite the secondary experience, and Paulina, well, said her husband is also a freelancer. So this is already a good summary. And you can, of course, always export these summaries if you want to, for example, here as an Excel table. But what if we don't like these summaries because we have our own unique topic that MAXQDA Tailwind will never find because it's so unique? I can just say add topic and create my own. And I create a topic here that was actually a topic in the research. And what topic did MAXQDA Tailwind not find? My topic here is perceived self-image. The self-image. Who does this person see themselves as? Do they think that they are a great person, that they are a loser, that they are an entrepreneur, that they are, who do they see themselves as? And this is a very abstract, interpretative topic that was not even in my project description, so Tailwind had no chance of finding it. But I call this topic here self-image, and I just post some questions in there. How do the people or the interviewees view themselves as what type of person? Who do they identify themselves with? What is their implicit self-image visible through their actions and words? Something like that. It is not a good project topic description, but I guess I will understand what I'm looking for. I could even, work on this, but let's just take it for now. What I have found is that in many cases, the AI is even pretty good in understanding me if I'm not that good. I hope just you understand me. I'm interested here interpretatively. Who do these people see themselves as what type of a person? That was actually what I was interested in this research. Now I add this manual topic, and you see here the project description is now my own. I can still change it if I want to. And Tailwind is creating a new topic summary. Now I'm curious if it understood me and what summary I get. And again, you see here always Tailwind cites its sources so that you can know, okay, how does this look? So self-image, what are key elements of the self-image here? Autonomy and independence. A strong sense of autonomy and independence is a central component of the self-image of all 5 interviewed persons. I think that's already a pretty good answer. Autonomy and independence, that's a key element of their self-image. I mean, they are freelancers. That means they are to some extent autonomous. Yeah. Challenges of self-employment. While all interviewed persons appreciate the autonomy of self-employment, they also acknowledge associated challenges. Continuous learning. There are some other things in here that I don't think are that good, but here, Verbal values the freedom of self-employment to choose projects and manage her time. Alex explicitly states her aversion to traditional employment structure, and so on. I could change the description here a bit. I'm not sure why the challenges here come up again. That's for me not so self-image related, but we could even change, just as an example, I could change the description here. Perceived self-image. How do the interviews view themselves as what type of a person? What are their self-ascribed characteristics and values? I can here update this, just that you see this. I can update both the description and the title, and I can say, please update the summary. So if you don't like the results, you can try to. You see here, my description is very different from what the AI describes. It always says this topic encompasses I had an easier time here of putting this into questions, but we'll see. Now we come here to value. The value of independence and flexibility. Yeah, so across all 5 documents, the value they place on independence and flexibility. Verbal emphasizes the ability to choose your own projects. Pretty similar, not too much of a difference. Okay, what we can do next, there is more that we can do, is we can create so-called summary tables. Because right now, we just have this summary that is sort of about all of the documents. I can here create a so-called summary table and decide that I want a summary for each topic for each document. So it's basically a table topics by documents. I here choose the data, and just to make it easy, I for now just choose Verbal, Alex, and Alina. Those are the 3 documents that I would like to include in my table. And for topics, I will still stick with my perceived self-image, gender, and then maybe transition to self-employment. So this will now be a 3x3 table. I could take all, but often it makes sense to split this up a little bit, specific people. So here you see this is much easier to handle. So you see here now we have 3 documents and 3 topics. The middle topic I created myself. So let's see. We can now read across person or across topic. Let's first go with the topic. Let's go first with gender. Verbal, a 40-year-old trainer, describes the challenges, opportunities of being a self-employed woman. So what does Verbal say? She highlights the difficulty women face in valuing their own work and charging appropriately for their services, often underselling due to societal expectations of niceness and helpfulness. Verbal notes that men often network more efficiently to advance their careers, while women may hesitate to seek help or leverage connections, fearing it might appear unprofessional. Verbal is the one interview I know by far the best in this sample, and this is exactly what she said. We are underselling ourselves and we are not good at networking. That were her main points about gender. You can agree or disagree, but that's what Verbal said. Let's see what Alex says. She highlights, so you see this has a similar structure here, the financial advantages of self-employment, noting that she earns twice as much while working less than in previous employment. Alex contrasts her current earnings with the low wages she observed for women in traditional employment. This is actually a contraposition, because Verbal says we are underselling ourselves. Alex says we can charge finally appropriately here, because in a traditional job we would be undervalued and we would have to stick to what someone tells us is our value. She finds it easier to negotiate higher prices with clients than with a boss. You see, Verbal and Alex here have different opinions on gender and negotiating in this case. Alina here discusses the challenges. She highlights the difficulty of balancing work with family responsibilities, particularly the unexpected demands of caring for her ailing father-in-law. You remember we had that earlier. So now we see very quickly what are the different perspectives on gender. First one says we are not good at negotiating, that's a disadvantage. The second one says here we can finally negotiate. And the third one, Alina, says, yeah, I can negotiate, that's nice, but as soon as my father-in-law gets sick, I'm expected to be the one who helps because I'm a woman and I'm self-employed. And this is a very quick and quite intuitive way, I find, to quickly dive into the descriptive topics. Let's see how good my self-image did. Verbal identifies as a scanner, a personality type characterized by an inability to focus on a single task. We can also hear 1012, click on this, and we get the reference here. It was about the personality type called scanner. This is what I am, basically. So again, here, these numbers, you can check all that. I see another question in the chat. I will come to it a little bit later. She values intellectual stimulation and describes herself as someone who needs to be intellectually challenged to avoid boredom. So she says here, freelancing is that challenge that I need and want. How does what's Alex's self-image? She describes herself as someone who is totally happy with her current situation. Alex values flexibility and the ability to adjust her workload. She acknowledges her own self-imposed pressure, but also her ability to manage it effectively. Alex identifies with a self-resilient and resourceful individual who is capable of learning and adapting quickly. I think that's also pretty good. Alex basically said, if I remember correctly, I can only work as a freelancer. I would die as someone else. And this is because I can self-organize things. Is there a better way to organize the summaries such as bullet points? Someone asks, here you get it as full text. This is the point of the summaries here. You could, in other tools, do it maybe a bit differently, but here it's not bullet points, it's always full text. But this would be an interesting request. I think this should not be too hard to do. Okay, let's see the third self-image, and then I release you from this table to show you the final features, and then we can discuss a little bit about what this means and also go back to the other questions. Alina views herself as a specialist in healthy corporate finance, offering preventative financial advice to small and medium-sized enterprises. She differentiates herself, services from traditional controlling. She basically says, I'm a doctor for companies. Here as a, how is it put here? A specialist in healthy corporate finance. Also quite, she has a diverse professional background. She describes herself as a structured, analytical, and someone who enjoys varied work and new challenges. Actually, the self-image here, I find the summaries are much better in this summary grid than the general summary, because self-image is so unique. It's quite hard to summarize the self-image of 5 people without breaking it up into 5 people. But here, these self-image categories, I think, are pretty strong. Okay, that's how the summary table works. Positive, neutral, negative. You could, so someone asks here, can we get sentiment categories, positive, neutral, and negative? There's absolutely nothing against defining a topic here and saying positive statements, statements about what a person likes, neutral statements, negative statements, but it is not doing sentiment analysis in the old traditional sense of you give every word a score and then it gives you a score on the sentiment. But you definitely can, maybe as an addition to traditional sentiment analysis, create a topic here that's called positive, negative things, and then even say what you want to focus on. So these are the summary tables. One more thing that we can do is we can chat with our data. And the nice thing is we can chat with all the documents at once. And what can you do with that? Quite a lot. I will just give you one example. One of the prompts that I like quite a lot. I just copy and paste it here for you so that I don't mistype. My prompt here is, I want, and now this is, I mean, you can prompt something like, please summarize that. Yeah, but what else is there? I write this prompt. I want to develop a typology. That's something methodologically quite sophisticated. You want to develop types of people based on these 5 documents. What types of people could I identify and what characteristics could be used for grouping them? This is the prompt I use here, but I also share it in the chat just in case you want to use that one. Or try it in another software. I want to develop a typology based on these 5 documents. What types of people could I identify? What characteristics could be used for grouping them? Let's go and see what Tailwind gets me back. This is now a chat with my 5 documents. Let me see. This one is answered. Kim asks, is it possible for Tailwind to find contrasting contrary examples within topics? Yeah, with the topic summaries, with the summary grid, you will sort of get the contrasting experiences. If you want to specifically work out contrasting opinions, you could also try it here through the chat. You could say, please provide the range and contrasting experiences on the following topic. So you could do this also here via the chat. So let's see. Based on your 5 interview transcripts, several typologies of female freelancers could be developed. The choice of typology depends on your research goal. Okay, here are a few possibilities. Typology 1, based on career stage and entrepreneurial approach. This typology focuses on the interviewee's experience with freelancing. Type A could be the established freelancer. This is Burble and Alina. Type B, the emerging freelancer, that is Alex, and the passion-driven freelancer, that is Fiona. Interesting choice here. We can then also see what numbers are here behind it. These individual, the established ones have significant experiences and are well established. Emerging here is Alex. They are relatively new to freelancing and still develop their client base and business strategies. Again, here we can get the references from the individual documents that support this. Typology 2, based on work-life integration and well-being. This typology could focus on how the interviewees balance their work and personal lives. There could be the integrated freelancer, Alina, have successfully integrated work and personal life. The struggling freelancer, Alex and Fiona, struggle to maintain a healthy balance. And the boundary blurred freelancer, Burble. Let's go on with one more. Based on financial security, financially secure, financially vulnerable, newly independent freelancer, Paulina. Okay, so we see here these are 3 suggestions on how we could group them. Yeah, here we see the subsegments. You see here type C, boundary blurred, is based on verbal interview 24 to 26, this section here. Or here also supported by section 50 to 52. So you see here what data backs up these claims. And then finally we get here what characteristic could be we use: years of experience, client-based, pricing strategy, business planning, work-life balance and well-being, support networks, and so on and so on. It would take quite a lot of time to read these approximately 100 pages and come up with a suggestion for a typology. Here we have already an interesting and good starting point. If you want to have more ideas on how to chat with your data, I rather recently, in August last year, wrote an article with Stefan Redeker together, including 10 prompt ideas for interview analysis. They are all based on single case analysis, not yet in multiple cases, but I would say it still holds up because we also systematically thought about what could you use it for: summarizing, developing codes, navigating data, receiving feedback, or here assisting interpretation and analytical thinking. That's where we would find also the typology development, just as an idea where you can get more prompt ideas for using the chat. But of course you can do much more. You could just say, and you see here they are saved here as a chat. You can continue chatting and now say, please rework it, rework the typology, and focus more on how the participants handle family and job, something. So we will then see, I will then try to come up with a new typology. Let's see, just as an example. I have no idea how well it will work, but we'll see. Probably should do it quite fine. But you can go back and forth here as you would be able with a chat. Here, a balancing typology, balancing act, female freelancers and family integration. Integrated family and work, Paulina. Managed integration, Berber. Challenged integration, Alex. Independent focus, Fiona. And inferential integration, what does that mean? Limited information about your family situation. Okay, yeah, that's a problem here, I see. Not everyone talks that much about their family. But you could get here a new suggestion for typologies, but just by saying, please focus more on. We can, of course, create a new chat and then just say something like someone suggested in the chat here, please provide contrasting opinions and quotations regarding regarding freelancing and gender. How is freelancing particularly unique for women? Something like that. Here we could ask for contrasting examples for a certain topic too, if we want that. Again, my prompt is not the best, but you will see what comes out of it in just a second. Let us see. And again, we will, of course, get the references here. Positive, no, yeah. Someone asks here for sentiment analysis. Now it's split it up into positive and negative aspects. Flexibility and family compatibility, financial opportunities, but then you also have underselling, gender bias, and here we see that this is a sort of contrasting language. While flexibility is a benefit, the interviewees also reveal the challenges of balancing. Several interviewees mention the tendency for women to undervalue themselves to negotiate the pay. So you here find sort of a bit of contrasting opinions on gender. Is it better or is it worse? Positive or negative? Is it an opportunity or is it especially hard challenge? Lastly, if you want to, you can of course export your data. You can export here your document summaries. You can export your topic summaries here as an Excel file. You can also export here your summary tables. But if you are a current user of MAXQDA and you see this as a starting point, you can also export the entire project so that you can later continue working MAXQDA. And we will do that right now, just so that we see. We can here say export project, and it will take the documents, the document summaries, the topic summaries, and the summary table, all of that, and we will have it in a second in MAXQDA. I will now open up MAXQDA. Let's see. And here we go. And now I say open. And I say I want to support, I want here to open, what is it? A Tailwind project, MXTail. It's this one here. This is the one I just downloaded. Yeah, let me see. 1642, this is what I just downloaded. I hit open, and then you will see basically the same data inside MAXQDA. So now you have here your documents. Now you also see the numbers here. You under the document summary here, you have the summaries that the AI created. That is the document summaries. You also have here the topics now as codes. You also find the topic description here up here in the memo and the topic summary down here. So everything is moved over into MAXQDA. And even, and I was surprised to see that this export is the newest stuff. Earlier it didn't exist. Even here under summary table, you find exactly the table I created, the 3x3 table I just created with the same summaries for the same people. So you can continue working here, for example, by manually coding your data with the topics and the codes that you have. You could use I don't know, just Max Maps to visualize what you have found in a new way. For example, I could here drop the codes here and maybe describe them. Or I could even go on and use, for example, AI coding and then say, hey, here for Verbal, I would like to AI code this topic to continue working in a more traditional qualitative way. So Nikki asked in the very beginning, I want to learn how is Tailwind different from AI Assist. I think you saw now how it is different, but let's recap. MAXQDA is still a software for coding, and all the AI support functions focus around coding. You can code with AI, you can summarize coded data, you can summarize segments, but it's all still focused around coding, and it is a more step-by-step, slower, very detailed process in which you read code and the AI supports you. Tailwind, on the other hand, is a very quick, I did a very extensive analysis here, in 45 minutes of 100 pages of data. You get a quick insights for a lot of data, for maybe reoccurring data, and it is a web-based standalone tool. It doesn't do any coding in the traditional sense. It creates topics, but it does not code as qualitative researchers do. Instead, it gives you this topic summary, code summaries, topic summaries, document summaries, summary grids, and even chat functions. So it's a much faster, and this is why I also understand, although I'm also a bit surprised by it, I understand that the pricing is a bit different for Tailwind, because if this was your master thesis or bachelor thesis, maybe rather bachelor thesis, you now would have done a significant share, or you would have gotten a lot of insights in a very short time. Or if this is just some research for, I don't know, you want to see what your company can improve by analyzing some emails or something. This is a very quick tool with a very short turnaround time. You usually, if you buy a MAXQDA license, you often spend months in the software. Here, I think you're probably done in a few days, depending on if you get more data or not. So that's also a key difference. And it's a web tool, so I can log out here, I can log in onto another device, and I can work seamlessly here. What's also one difference is that MAXQDA Tailwind is in its beta phase about a year old, maybe. MAXQDA is more than 30 years old. And I mean, that's a good thing for MAXQDA because it's a very sophisticated, very detailed software with dozens, if not even hundreds of functions. It has everything you could possibly ask for, maybe not, but has a lot of functions. Whereas Tailwind is gaining new functions basically every week or month or something like that. So it's still a developing software. That's also a thing you should keep in mind. There are a lot of use cases on how to use MAXQDA in a research project. There are not so many examples to follow with Tailwind because it's so new. This is just, if you take a look at it. But as you just saw with the export, they also work quite interestingly together. Now we will do a quick recap, who Tailwind is for, what you can use it for, and also I will tell you a little bit about my experience, and then we still have time for questions. Okay, so we now had creating data, creating topics, generating topics, chatting with data, exporting topics. One thing that makes MAXQDA unique, and that's also MAXQDA Tailwind rather unique, unlike many other AI tools, is the data protection part of it. The data is, first of all, and for me, this is the strongest argument. It's a software made by an established software development company that's developing software for academia for 30 years now, and it's based in Germany, Berlin, and follows German data protection laws. That means the data is not used for training purposes, and it is not stored. It is always handled by servers that are based in the EU. If you want to use AI, and if you want to use even a quick AI tool, but be safe on the data protection side, MAXQDA Tailwind is a really good ally for you, because you have the exact data protection policy here, but it is not some tool hosted by some company that was established 2 weeks ago, and is maybe you don't even know who runs it. It's an established research software made in Germany. So data protection is one thing that makes it stand out. What are the use cases for Tailwind? Well, as we have seen in the connection with MAXQDA, it can be very interesting for initial data analysis to explore the potential of data, especially if you have a lot of data and you don't quite know what to do with it, what angle to take, what your research question could be. You can do a sort of, if you think in a traditional model, data exploration or initial text work, you can do quite a lot with Tailwind. You can also use it to generate ideas for interesting topics and codes that you want to follow up on. Maybe you have done 5 interviews and you still have to figure out what angle to take, what question to ask. An interesting and very attractive option I see is using Tailwind for accumulating data. So for data that keeps coming out, that you don't have finished at point X. For example, you could do a literature review for data that keeps getting published, and you have your maybe 20 papers right now, you run Tailwind through it, and then maybe in half a year there are 10 new relevant papers. You edit and you update the summaries, and you see how these summaries keep changing. Or you could even use it maybe a bit more point of the future if you would have emails, complaint emails that are coming in, and whenever they come in, you add new emails here, and then you just hit update, 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 and you very quickly see if something changes within these topics, if the topics change based on your input. And this is the last story I will tell you, is that you can use it to compare your own findings to the AI to identify your blind spots. So even if you're done now with your analysis in MAXQDA, you could now run your data through Tailwind and see, did I miss something? Are there topics that I did not identify? Is there still potential in a new direction for this data, maybe for a new research paper that I have not yet written? And I personally use Tailwind right now because I do a contractual research project with the Charité in Berlin. And I took 10 interviews, or could even take all of them, but for now I took 10 of the interviews. I ran it through Tailwind, and I saved all the exports, and I didn't even look at it because I don't want to prime myself. I don't want to blind myself by what the AI tells me. And I will keep this until the end of the project. And at the end of the project, I will take a look at it again, and then I will know, and I will of course tell you, if my research found something different, found the same, was much better, or worse. So you can use this as an additional perspective on your data, on the research that you already did, or on this research that you are setting out to do. For this, it's a very interesting approach as well. So conclusion, and then I come to all your questions. I see there are already a couple of them. AI is always a tool, so keep that in mind. You're responsible for how you use it. Even with Tailwind, two things are always on the human end of it. Judging relevancy, so deciding if these are good results or bad results, if they are useful or trash. This always you as a researcher, as the expert, will judge. And you are also always the person who is accountable for the results. So if the results are not good, if the results cause problems, if the results are harmful for your participants, it is you who is accountable. Keep that in mind. You are the boss. The AI supports you. The AI is very good in summarizing content and also in reproducing, establishing patterns. One thing, this is more like a personal thought of mine that I still want to share with you. One thing that I notice when I keep using AI a lot, that I must be careful to not lose or water down my own expertise. In the sense of, if you read these 5 interviews manually with your own 2 eyes in the course of weeks, a lot will happen between your ears in your brain. You will understand more about the word and the topic. If you generate quick results with an AI, you might have a good report, but there will not happen that much as a building of expertise for yourself. Keep that in mind. So if you just want some quick insights because you need some responses fast, something like Tailwind is perfect. If you do a research because you want to develop personal expertise and knowledge that sticks in your head, even if you don't have AI access, it might be worth to still go deeply into the data. Right now, I do a research project and we do personal data exploration, reading. We even write some summaries, although we know these summaries are worse than the AI summaries, because the process of writing a summary does something to our brains. Means we still use all the AI on top, but it can be very important to still give your data a thorough reading from time to time. This is just as a little bit of a warning. If you like this webinar, I am a trainer. I am a one-person company. You can reach out to me if you want help or consultation. Also, you can reach out to me if you want to have today's slides. You can do so by sending me a quick email to andreas@muellermixedmethods.com. I also share my email here in the chat. You can send me an email. I send you back a PDF with the current slides.